Title: My brother, who runs a hotel in Hawaii, called and asked me, "Where's your wife?" I said, "She's on a business trip in New York." He replied, "No, she's in my hotel in Hawaii with another man, and she's using your credit card." With my brother's help, I devised a plan for revenge. The next day, my wife called me in a panic. Chapter 1: The Call That Changed Everything. It was nearly midnight when my phone buzzed on the nightstand. I was half asleep, tangled in the sheets, still believing my wife, Claire, was 3 time zones away on a week-long business trip in New York. She had left 3 days ago, kissing me goodbye at the airport and texting me that evening. "Meetings are intense. Miss you already." So when I saw my brother Daniel's name flash across the screen, I figured it was a mistake. He managed a luxury resort in Maui, a world of five-star clients and constant stress. Calls this late were rare. I answered, my voice thick with sleep. "Danny?" His voice was sharp, direct. "Hey, didn't mean to wake you, but I have to ask, where's Claire?" I blinked the sleep from my eyes. "What?" "She's in New York, a work conference. Why?" There was a half second of silence, then, "No, man, she's not." I sat bolt upright. "What are you talking about?" "She checked into my hotel 3 hours ago," he said slowly, "under her own name. She's here, in Hawaii, with some guy. They booked the Ocean View Suite on your credit card." A cold dread washed over me. "What does this guy look like?" I asked, my heart hammering against my ribs. "Tall, muscular, has a beard, checked in under the name Eric Monroe. Mean anything to you?" I gritted my teeth. Oh, it meant something. Eric was one of Claire's colleagues. She'd mentioned him in passing. A funny guy, great at sales, supposedly married. "She told me she'd be in meetings all week," I muttered, already throwing back the covers. "She's been sending me pictures of hotel lobbies, restaurants, cocktails." Daniel sighed. "Look, you're not the first guy this has happened to, but you've got me. If you want proof, I can help." My hands were shaking, but my voice was steady. "Good, because I don't want to confront her." "What do you want?" I paused, then whispered, "I want to ruin her." And just like that, the plan began. Chapter 2: Silent Proof. I barely slept that night. After hanging up with Daniel, I sat for hours in the living room, staring at the blank TV screen as memories of Claire unspooled in my mind like a fraying thread. The late nights, the last-minute work emergencies, the new lingerie she claimed was part of a self-empowerment phase, the gaslighting whenever I asked about Eric. I wanted to scream, but I didn't. I couldn't. If this was going to work, I had to be silent, strategic, and ruthless. By 6 a.m., Daniel had emailed me 3 high-resolution photos. Claire at the hotel bar, laughing over a mojito. Claire walking hand in hand with Eric by the infinity pool. Claire kissing him right outside the elevator. The same one she and I had used during our honeymoon at Daniel's hotel 5 years ago. The betrayal was a blade twisting deeper than any knife, but it also hardened something inside me. Daniel called again, this time with an update. "I checked her expenses," he said. "Room service, spa appointments, a shopping spree. She's already burned through over $2,000, all on your card. You want me to block it?" "No," I replied slowly. "Let her keep spending. The more she uses it, the more evidence we have." Daniel exhaled. "Got it. What's the play?" I stood by the window, watching the silent street below. "I need you to send me a detailed report of everything: receipts, times, photos, whatever you've got. Tomorrow, I'm calling the bank and shutting the card down. Daniel gave a low whistle. Harsh. She'll be trapped in paradise with no money and a fake lover. And, I added, make sure you upgrade their room. Upgrade? Yeah. Move them to the presidential suite. Tell them it's a complimentary promotion. I want her to feel like a queen for one more night. Daniel laughed again, this time with a note of admiration. Damn, you're serious about this. Deadly serious. And after that, I'll send her the real gift. The real gift? You'll see, I said coldly. By this time tomorrow, she'll be begging to come home. Chapter 3. Panic in Paradise. The next morning, I made the call. Hello, this is Jonathan Wells. I'd like to report my credit card as compromised. Yes. The one ending in 9408. Lost or stolen? Let's just call it stolen. I didn't have to lie. Emotionally, financially, it had been stolen from me the moment Claire checked into that suite. The bank confirmed the card was deactivated. No more charges would go through. All transactions from the past 3 days were automatically flagged for review. Around noon, a text from Daniel came in. She just tried to pay for poolside drinks. Declined. She's panicking. I could picture it perfectly. Claire, sun hat tilted just so, her smile frozen, as the server discreetly informed her the card wasn't working. She'd laugh it off, thinking it was a simple glitch, until the front desk confirmed that every card tied to the account was blocked. An hour later, another text from Daniel. She's at the front desk now, voice raised, says it must be a mistake. Eric is standing off to the side, looking uncomfortable, not offering to pay. Then, finally, my phone rang. Claire. I stared at the screen as it vibrated. For the first time since this all began, I didn't feel confusion or grief or even anger. I felt control. I answered, my voice calm and even. Hey, honey. Her voice was strained, stretched to its limit. John, thank God. Something's wrong with the card. You need to call the bank. Everything's being declined. Oh, I said softly. That's strange. Weren't you in New York? Silence. What? You told me you were in New York at a business conference, but Daniel says hi, by the way. He says you look great in the presidential suite. Shame about the company. Her voice cracked. You knew? I know everything, Claire. I know you're in Hawaii. I know you're with Eric. I know you've been using my money to fund your little seaside fairy tale. She let out a strangled sob, half panic, half rage. I didn't. John, it's not what you think. I swear. Save it, please. Just. Can you call the bank? My phone is about to die, and Eric's card was declined too. And, wow, I cut in. So you're stuck in paradise with your lover and no way to pay for the suite. Her silence told me everything. You made your bed, Claire, I said, my tone neutral. You can lie in it, or in the hotel lobby, depending on what Eric can afford. But John, I ended the call. That night, Daniel sent me one last photo. Claire, sitting alone by the hotel fountain. No sun hat, no smile. Just her and a dying phone. Eric was nowhere in sight, betrayed by her own betrayal. And this was only the beginning. Chapter 4. The Unraveling. By the next morning, Claire had officially crossed the line from panic to desperation. Daniel called me early, trying and failing to keep the laughter out of his voice. She stormed the front desk like a hurricane, demanding to know why her suite wasn't complimentary anymore. Said something about calling the police. Said she was being held captive. My receptionist stayed calm and told her the room needed to be paid for today, or she'd be out by noon. Did she pay? I asked. Nope, Eric's gone. I was stunned. What? Left around 6 a.m., bag in hand. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't leave a dime. Looked embarrassed. Of course he did. Eric was a classic opportunist. He likely thought he was getting a free luxury vacation with another man's wife. But when it came time to pay the bill, literally and figuratively, he vanished like smoke. Claire, abandoned and penniless in a tropical paradise, was now completely on her own. I spent the rest of the day calmly executing the next phase of my plan. I called our accountant and had her name removed from all shared business accounts. I changed every password: banking, utilities, cloud storage, everything. I filed for legal separation with my lawyer and petitioned to have temporary alimony denied on the grounds of willful marital misconduct. Then came the public part. Claire was a social media influencer, not famous, but obsessed with appearances. Her brand was curated perfection: power couple photos, elegant dinners, a behind the scenes look at our busy but love filled life. So I sent her a message, but not a private one. I commented directly on one of her old couple photos. Hope Eric made the Hawaii trip interesting. I'll be posting the proof soon. It took about 7 minutes for her to delete her entire account, but it was too late. Daniel had already forwarded me the hotel's security footage. I had the receipts, the time-stamped photos, and her own texts about the New York business trip. I emailed it all to her with a simple subject line: "Everything you built just came crashing down." That evening, Claire called again, this time from a borrowed number. "John, please," she whispered. "I need a ticket home. I have no one else to call." "Of course," I replied. "I'll book one right now." Her voice lifted with relief. "Really?" "Absolutely," I said, a cold smile touching my lips. "It'll be a middle seat on a red-eye flight. No checked baggage. And when you land, your luggage, your apartment key, your access cards, your name on anything will be gone." A pause. "You're not serious." "Oh, Claire," I murmured, "you seriously underestimated the person you married." Then I ended the call, this time for good. Chapter 5. Welcome home, Claire. She landed 2 days later, exhausted and disheveled, wearing the same crumpled dress she'd arrived in Hawaii with. No luggage, no makeup, no smile. Daniel had kindly arranged her flight using the cheapest ticket he could find, delayed, with a long layover, in a middle seat between two toddlers. The kind of flight that breaks your body and your spirit. I knew her arrival time before she even left the island, and I made sure I wasn't there when she got back. Instead, I had the locks changed. She stood on the front porch for 20 minutes, trying her old key, ringing the doorbell, calling my number on an endless loop. I didn't pick up. She must have circled the house, trying the back door, maybe even peering through the windows. Finally, she would have found the note I'd taped to the front door. Claire. As of this morning, this property is legally in my name alone. You no longer live here. For your belongings, see the storage unit listed below. The code is 0922, our anniversary. Ironic, I know. Good luck rebuilding the life you so willingly destroyed. John. In that storage unit was everything she owned, neatly packed, labeled, and stacked. Clothes, shoes, makeup, her precious vanity mirror. It was all there, except for her wedding ring. I'd pawned it the day before. The money? donated to a women's shelter in her name. And I didn't stop there. Her corporate job, the one she constantly bragged about, had been informed, not by me, but by Eric's actual wife. Apparently, Claire had violated several HR policies by fraternizing with a client, falsifying travel records, and using company funds for personal reasons. I got a text from a mutual friend a few days later. Dude, Claire got fired, totally blacklisted. You weren't kidding when you said she dug her own grave. I didn't reply. Claire, now unemployed, homeless, and ghosted by her partner in crime, had nowhere left to turn. She tried calling again, leaving a voicemail. John, I know I messed everything up, but please, can't we just talk? I miss you. I miss us. I didn't want it to go this far. I saved the message, not to reply, but to remind myself just how deep her betrayal had cut, and how far I'd come since the moment my phone rang in the middle of the night. Chapter 6. The Final Word. It had been nearly 2 weeks since Claire returned. She had tried everything: voicemails, texts, emails. She'd even reached out to my sister, my coworkers, my old college roommate. The message was always the same. Please, just one conversation. Just let me explain. But I didn't need her explanation. She wasn't sorry for what she'd done. She was only sorry she'd been caught. She was sorry she'd been caught. Sorry that her fantasy had imploded. And sorry that her backup plan, me, wasn't waiting with open arms. Then came the letter, handwritten, left for me to find. I discovered it tucked under my windshield wiper after work one evening. John, you may not believe this, but what happened wasn't what I wanted. It should never have gone so far. I was lost. I felt neglected, invisible. And when Eric paid attention to me, I made a mistake. But now I see what I've lost, what I've destroyed. Please, can we meet? Just once? If not to fix things, then at least to say goodbye as real people, not as ghosts. I didn't reply immediately, but I agreed to meet her at a quiet, neutral cafe. I arrived 10 minutes early, took a seat by the window, and waited. She walked in, a shadow of her former self. Pale, gaunt, with dark circles under her eyes. The designer clothes were gone. The mask of arrogance was gone. All that remained was a desperation that clung to her like a cheap perfume. She sat across from me, her hands clasped together. I'm not here to beg, she began, her voice low. I just wanted to look you in the eye and tell you I'm sorry. I let the silence hang in the air before I spoke. I believed in you, Claire, in us. I would have done anything for you, worked the late nights, paid the bills, supported your career, loved you even at your worst. But you didn't want a partner. You wanted an admirer, someone to finance your lifestyle, to clean up your messes while you flirted with chaos. Her lip trembled, but she stayed silent. You told me you were in New York, I continued. You were in his bed, smiling for his camera, while I was trusting you with our future. And for what? A thrill? A tan in the arms of a stranger? I was stupid, she whispered. No, Claire. You were selfish. And selfish people always think the world will wait for them to wake up. I pulled an envelope from my coat and slid it across the table. Inside were the finalized divorce papers. No alimony, no stake in my business, no claim to the house, just the end. I'm free, I said calmly. And now, so are you. her eyes filled with tears. You hate me that much? No, I replied, standing up. I don't hate you at all. And it was true. I felt no hatred for her anymore, only indifference. And that was the final, killing blow. Epilogue. I walked out of that cafe lighter than I had felt in years. Claire moved to a neighboring town and took a quiet, anonymous job in sales. They say she lives in a small apartment above a bakery. No more trips, no more followers, no more lies. As for me, I rebuilt. I rebuilt my life, my peace, my future. And one day, when I'm ready, maybe I'll even rebuild love. Because the greatest revenge was never fire, it was silence and success. Was this revenge perfectly justified? Tell us what you would have done in the comments below. Like this story, share it with someone who needs this energy, and subscribe to Loren's story for more breathtaking tales of betrayal and justice, because here, every lie has its reckoning, and every betrayal finds its shadow. Stay vigilant, stay strong, and stay tuned.